Hey there everyone, it's your old pal Cape Joel here. Now many of you will know me from my work on comic books, or at least if you're watching this I sure hope you know me from my work on comic books. This month however I did something quite interesting. I took a little experiment to broaden my nerdy horizons and add kind of another notch to my geek belt. For the whole month of August, and I guess a little of July too, I actually started wrestling. Now anyone who's listened to the Comic Book Has podcast, of which I am a co-host of, they will know that everyone else on that show positively loves wrestling. I'd always heard them talk about it, debate about it. In fact, just recently, the Comic Book Has wrestling podcast, Scoop Slam, just opened up its own channel and its own Twitter. I will be sure to link you down in the description down there. So yeah, I just said, for this month, screw it, I actually want to start watching wrestling and, want to see what it's all about. Because, really, at the end of the day, wrestling and comics sort of have a lot in common. There's big heroes and big villains and story arcs that take years to resolve. And sometimes characters get pushed and sometimes characters get buried. And there's lots of different shows that you maybe gotta watch all of them to get the full story. It all leads to big, huge events. And speaking of events, I thought I would make this video right now because last night, it's Monday morning as I record this right now, was SummerSlam, and SummerSlam 2015 was my first ever wrestling pay-per-view event, so I wanted to talk about it here and now. So I thought it would be fun if I ran down my experiences with SummerSlam 2015 and kind of let you see it through my eyes as a newcomer, even if you're a veteran watcher or if, like me, you've kind of had an interest but never watched before. I really feel like I should have worn a wrestling shirt for this video. Unfortunately, I only own comic shirts. Damn, too bad. Maybe next time, who knows. So, right off the bat, I was super interested in SummerSlam because of the host they had gotten, Jon Stewart, one of my favorite late-night TV comedians. And I thought it was super serendipitous. It's like, man, did they know I started watching or something? The first match of the night was Sheamus versus Randy Orton. Now, I know a lot of people who are huge Randy Orton fans, and a lot of people aren't exactly taken with Sheamus. In fact, this whole match, Sheamus actually kind of had to meet the fans head on when he was met with chants of, you look stupid, you look stupid. And yeah, he looks like a Celtic warrior, but he also looks kind of stupid too. His big comeback to all of these comments were, respect the Hawk. And to answer back to that, I respect lots of Hawks. I respect Stephen Hawking. I respect Chief Thunder Wolf Hawk. Your Hawk, on the other hand, yeah, I don't know. Although there was a pretty good moment when Randy Orton attempted to grab his mohawk, only to be slipped out of it due to all the hair product. That was pretty funny. That was pretty funny. I liked that. Overall, this was kind of a match that didn't have a lot of story hooks going into it. It seemed that they were just fighting just because, and maybe that's why they decided to open the pay-per-view with it. I also really expected Sheamus because he's the one holding the Money in the Bank, which gives him a shot at the belt whenever he wants it. I really did expect him to come out and interfere with the whole Cena Rollins match. He never did, though. Maybe they're sitting on that one for WrestleMania. Who knows? Next up, we had a Fatal 4-Way. Now again, the people I work with are gigantic fans of The New Day, and I have to say, I wasn't really won over by them until this match. They're trash-talking beautifully on point. Their heelish antics of how they run down the city that they're fighting in, run down rap music, it's just so classic wrestling bad guy. Boo, your city sucks, the bands you like suck, boo, hate us, yeah, yeah. Also, I really had to take my hat off to their costumes, too. With the white and gold, they looked a lot like the White Ranger from Power Rangers. In fact, White Ranger chic was in this whole show, but I'll get back to that. The only other real takeaway from this match is, man, Titus O'Neil is a giant, man. That dude is super strong. That dude does in real life what comic book superheroes do in make-believe. That guy is crazy good. After that was the Rusev Ziggler match. Now keep in mind, I am new to wrestling, so you can bet I was really surprised getting into this sports entertainment for the first time and realizing that in the year 2015, there is still an evil Russian. Okay, technically evil Bulgarian, but still. Now, what really had me interested in this match was not the two men fighting, but actually the two women on the sidelines. Lana, who was, of course, originally with Rusev, but is now with Ziggler. Again, to put it in terms of comics, Lana is kind of like the Harley Quinn of the WWE at this moment, meaning that she was in a relationship with a bad guy, but now she's trying to strike out on her own. And by strike out on her own, I, of course, mean striking out with another dude, but hey, not everyone's perfect. That being said, I really didn't like the new outfit she got. They dressed her in Ziggler gear, which is like a lot of jeans. And honestly, I think she just looked so much better in the suit. That was kind of her look a look that is currently being stolen by Summer Rae. Again, the actual fight between the two dudes didn't really do much for me, but when the two ladies actually got involved near the end, that was the good stuff. Now, technically this match had no winner and was called a double countout, but the way they kind of cheered for Ziggler and played his music, it was like he won anyway. Again, totally new to wrestling, only been watching for a month, but again, I'm already seeing that these rules for WWE aren't exactly set in stone. They're a little fluid, you know, and again, we're going to see more of that as we dig on further. Now, for this next match, I feel my background in comics and comic media actually helped me out quite a bit. It was a 2-on-2 tag match wherein we had Stephen Amell, that's right, the actor from TV, teaming up with Neville, whose special move is called the Red Arrow. Ah, get it? Red Arrow, Green Arrow, you get it. Versus the evil Stardust, who dresses like Mr. Sinister, and King Barrett, who, honestly, again, I think I've been following this, but I don't really understand what Barrett was doing in this match or this feud. I guess so it was like, you know, a good Brit versus an evil Brit versus, you know, a superhero and a supervillain. I guess they wanted to keep it equal. Now again, I've gone on record before as not actually being the hugest fan of Stephen Amell or the Arrow TV show, but all of that being said, I was surprised at the cojones of this man really putting his body on the line for this. I mean, it's, yeah, sports entertainment with emphasis on the entertainment part, but people have been seriously hurt in the ring, I know that much for sure, and in some cases people have straight up died. So for an actor with pretty much nothing to lose to get into the ring with these people and put his own safety on the line, pretty commendable. Dude did alright, took some pops, did some stunts, jumped off the ropes. All in all, not too shabby. Of course, the match was predictable. Good guys win, bad guys lose. Hey, just like the comic books that they're riffing on. Who'da thunk it, am I right? After that, it was a three-way match between The Miz, Ryback, and Big Show. Again, keep in mind, I've only been watching for a month. I'm new, so it was kind of weird going into this big event fight that we had Ryback, who, as far as I understood, was out with an injury. So I've seen very little of him, and what I have seen of him, I wasn't exactly impressed. So for him to come into this match and kind of win was a little bit weird for me. This match was kind of slow, kind of plodding, honestly. I know the people I work with aren't exactly fans of Big Show or Big Slow, as they call him. He seems like a charismatic enough dude, but he is getting up there in age. Overall, this one was a bit forgettable. The second tag match of the night was Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns versus the Wyatt family, or I guess the new Wyatt family, only now there are two, so it's the two members of the Wyatt family versus the two former members of The Shield, in a match that honestly I felt like I had seen a bunch already watching Raw. I know, as far as I know, what's supposed to be is, aren't they supposed to bring like the good stuff for, you know, the pay-per-views? I mean, yeah, I guess there was some cool stuff, you know, where they got on each other's shoulders, but overall, I was kind of disappointed by this match. This felt like a match I had seen numerous times before. And being new to the sport, I don't exactly have a favorite character or favorite wrestler yet. Although what I had heard before coming in was, you know, how cool Bray Wyatt is, how terrifying he was and everything, you know. He's a backwoods Satan redneck and he's got a lantern and everything. But even I know, as an outsider looking in for this first time here, that the Wyatts are in the middle of what can only be described as villain decay, where they were cool and mysterious and evil, but now they keep losing. And it's like, why should I be scared of a guy who continues to lose? They really need to do something with those characters and quick, because I like them, and I want to like them. I especially like Bray Wyatt because he's that kind of wily, fat, strong, you know, that if I were to be a wrestler, I would be. But yeah, overall, this was another very uninteresting match. Good guys win, bad guys lose, moving on. So the second biggest match of the night was the big belt match, of course. John Cena versus Seth Rollins. You know, whoever walks away with this, you know, will make history. And again, even as an outsider, as I mentioned before, even I am well aware that most wrestling fans, most older wrestling fans, I should say, don't exactly like John Cena, and a lot of people had feared that he would win this match. Funny enough, again, as I mentioned, the White Ranger Sheik, friggin' Seth Rollins, who's usually decked out in black and yellow, comes out as, you know, in white and gold. He was reborn as Rollins the White for this match. And again, I know Rollins is the heel, which means he's the bad guy, which means I'm technically not supposed to like him. But he really won me over in this match with his athleticism, how he was able to, you know, lift Cena up over his head and his speed and his grit going back and forth and everything. This was also the first kind of shenanigan match of the night is what this was, where it's like Cena technically won, but because of a last-minute interference from Jon Stewart with a chair, Rollins ended up able to win it. And I just freaking love that Jon Stewart, a TV comedian, got involved in this match and actually, turned it to the favor of the quote-unquote heel. Why did he do it? Who knows? I haven't watched Raw tonight. Maybe they'll explain it there. I know Jon Stewart, from when I was watching his show, had kind of had a back and forth with Rollins, that they had kind of had a bit of a crossover thing going on. Maybe it's related to that, who knows? Overall, I think it's kind of cool that Rollins won. I consider myself a Rollins fan now at this point. I know Sean, who I work with, is a big Rollins fan, and I think I am now too. The dude, there's just something about him. There's something charismatic about him. Go figure. Plus, Cena lost, so I know a lot of people are going to be happy about that. So overall, I would say this match, pretty good, if an iffy finish. After that, it was the big Divas match. We were, of course, in the middle of the Divolution, or, the Revolution, or whatever you call it. The Divas are trying to get more respect, is what I'm trying to say. And they definitely pulled out a lot of big maneuvers and a lot of big stunts for this one. Honestly, much like the Shield Wyatt family fight from earlier on, I kind of felt like I saw this fight, though, during Raw. Like, again, I like that the Divas are getting more push. I like that they're trying to be taken more seriously and everything. But it's just kind of like, you only have each other to fight, though, so it's hard to make it fresh from week to week, and it's especially hard to make it fresh for a pay-per-view. So yeah, that was the Divas match, pretty much. The penultimate match, and honestly a very oddly booked penultimate match, and if I'm saying that, imagine what longer-term wrestling fans would say, was Cesaro the Swedish Superman versus Kevin Owens. Now, Kevin Owens, I figure I kind of have to like, because he's Canadian, and he's kind of fat strong like me, so, hey, one Canadian, one Canuck to another, right, man? I guess I should be on his side. And yet, he just kind of doesn't do it for me. Maybe it's because he looks a lot like my co-host Matt from Blood Sweat Comics. We were razzing about that on Twitter. That's probably the most fun I had with this match, was actually getting involved with the community online and on Twitter. That was definitely a big part of this SummerSlam, kind of, getting to join another community that I was new to. And everything. Overall, this match, not a heck of a lot to write home about. Owens won, so good for him, right? And the final match of the night, the big one, The Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar. They did a great job building up to this match. Again, watching for the first time, they had that great bit where they rushed each other in the ring and they had to have people separate them and everything. That was pretty cool. I know a lot of people were worried going into this match, just saying, Taker, he's a little old, he's getting up there in age, how can they make this match believable and everything, especially because Brock Lesnar was the one who broke the streak. Again, I'm new to all of this, so this is like new to me, and and I loved absorbing all this lore. One of the big things they said is that, Undertaker brought out a lot of his older moves, a lot of the ones that, people hadn't seen before. There was a great Hell's Gate spot and everything, but much like the Cena-Rollins match, this one kind of descended into shenanigans, where Lesnar technically won because some dude screwed up whilst ringing the bell, and that allowed Undertaker a chance to hit him in the nads, which seems a little weird for an undead, all-powerful wizard to go for a crotch shot like that. Especially because that's kind of a heel action, and I guess The Undertaker, despite his very grim gimmick, is not widely considered to be a heel. I can only imagine that this is going to lead to further storylines where it's like, Brock won, but Taker won on paper, so, what does this mean? Are we going to see them fight again? Is this going to lead to another match at WrestleMania? Who's to say for sure? I will take my hat off to Taker for, being able to lift and, being able to move a dude as big as Brock Lesnar. Lesnar looked plenty tough in the match. He got the whole crimson mask going on. Look at me throwing out wrestling lingo like I know what I'm talking about. Like I said, it's my first SummerSlam, it's my first pay-per-view, so I don't exactly have a lot to compare it to. But it was okay, I guess. SummerSlam as a whole, pretty good. There was some fun matches. There was some cool stuff they showed up there. I'm definitely interested enough in it now to maybe stick around till Mania, and then I'll see if my wrestling experiment will continue. And hopefully you will like listening to me talk about it, and maybe you'll come back. Maybe you found this entertaining. Maybe you found my droning on good for a chuckle, if nothing else. So thanks for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe to all that other social media jazz. Check out Scoop Slam. Those guys work really hard. Those guys I work with over on the Comic Book Cast. And maybe next time when we do this, I'll have my own wrestling shirt. Who knows? Until next time, everybody.